Good morning guys, and welcome to an incredible new city here in India. Today we are in the city of Pushkar, a lake city that is one of the most beautiful places in all of India, and in Rajasthan this is an absolute must-see. But aside from the beautiful lakes and temples there are to see in this city, there's also a lot of incredibly delicious food. Rajasthani food is some of the best you're going to find in India, and here at Pushkar is no exception. You're going to get some of the best food available in this country. So without further ado, let's go ahead and find some delicious Rajasthani food here in Pushkar. We're going to head to the main street, we're going to go find some market food, and I'm going to share it all with you guys in this incredible Indian street food video of Pushkar. Let's go. Alright, so the first stop of the day we've come to a place known as Shri Ma Annapura. I think that's how you say it. The fact is that a lot of the market is actually shut down today in Pushkar, so in terms of food choice, we're not getting that much. Hopefully that will change later in the evening. Hopefully some of the vendors will set up and start selling later in the afternoon. But for now, we've come to a really nice restaurant. This is a very beautiful place. You've got plastic stools, fans, waiters here who are not really speaking English. It's always a good sign when the menu isn't really in English and it's mostly in Hindi. Great sign. Now, what have I gotten? I've been dying to have this just by itself. This is Dal Bati Churma. This combination actually exists in the thali when we went to Chokidani, but just to have it by itself, that is a real Rajasthani feast. The way he makes it is absolutely incredible. He's got a massive fiery wok at the very front of the restaurant where he cooks up the rice, the dal, and everything in between. It's so powerful. Like, you can literally feel the heat of the wok, of the pan emanating at you as you're just standing in front of it. Just even filming it, it was crazy how much power was involved in making this Dal Bati Churma. But what is Dal Bati Churma? Dal Bati Churma is made of three things. Dal Bati Churma. Dal is the lentil sauce, and if you look at the lentils here, it is absolutely incredible. He literally makes it inside his pan, and just seeing it here, it is super oily, very thick and reddish yellowish in color. It looks like an incredible dal. Bati refers to this little bread here. You can see it's slightly oily, slightly crispy, slightly burnt. It's also a very thick type of bread, very hard to chew through because the actual quality of the bati itself is like a different type of grain. It's not like your soft white bread. This is something that's much thicker. It's almost like raw cookie dough is the best way I would be able to tell you what it's like, but it is very good. Churma then refers to this thing here. It's a little sweet combination. It's sweetened down, it's a little bit nutty, I call it like almost a nut crumble, and together that makes Dal Bati Churma. But first things first, we have a little bit of lemon here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze it right on top of the dal just to give it that little bit of acidity. And without further ado, you can always tell whether a place is good by just trying its dal first. So let's go ahead, let's try out some of this dal. Oh my god, that has got to be some of the best dal I've ever had. First off, the lemon is definitely much needed. The lemon adds a nice citrusy, fresh flavor to the dal. That is incredible. It's actually very liquidy. Some dals I've had tend to be a little bit more solid. This is a very liquid dal. It's almost like a dal soup. It is incredible. But the flavor, I love the spice that this dal has. It's actually spicier than the one we had at Chokidani when we were in Jaipur. The spice really hits you right at your throat. It almost punches you, and I can still feel the spice as I'm speaking. What I'm going to do is now first, there's a little plate of rice here. Now the rice is not just cooked in any ordinary rice cooker. He cooks it, heats it up in oil, in onions, and when he puts it in the pan, fries it up really nicely, and then puts it in here. Oh, that literally smells so good just by itself. I don't think I would ever say that rice smells good. But here in India, the rice is cooked so well, it smells incredible. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to get some of the dal, I'm going to pour it right over the rice. Oh, look at that. We've got a piece of tomato in the dal. There's so much going on in this dal. It's what makes it such an incredible flavor. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a spoonful, some rice, some dal. Let's try that. Oh, that right there. That It's home cooked comfort food. That rice, first off, it already has flavor on its own. The way he cooks it, nutting it in that pan, heating it up, already adds so much flavor. But then when you have that spicy dal, the rice soaks it all up, becomes pillows of dal, and that is incredible. Now, we've had dal, we've had rice, but you can't have it without the bati. Remember, the bati is that interesting dough thing, and look at that. It's literally almost like a cake. It's literally very cakey more than it is bready. But what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go ahead, tear it into a little piece, dip it inside that dal. Oh, this looks absolutely incredible. And then let's go ahead, let's give this piece right here a try. I'll taste that with some green chili. This bati is incredible. I mentioned how usually it's really hard to chew through bati, and I usually have a hard time because the quality of the bati, the material of the bati, tends to be a denser type of bread. But here, this bati doesn't feel that way at all. It's much more crumbly. It's almost like a crumble in a sense, almost like a crumbly cake that falls apart. Yes, it has a little bit of resistance that you have to chew through. That's very characteristic of a bati. But this one is really, really nicely done. I think it has to do something to do with the way they cooked it. You can see there's a lot of oil over the bati. That's probably why it tastes so good. But that is an incredibly delicious bati. Chase it down with some of that green chili, and you've got a winning combination right there. Now, of course, you can't have Dal Bati Churma without some churma. And here, we've got the perfect churma. Look at the crumbly sweetness of it. You can literally see how crumbly it is. I can't wait to try this out. Let's go ahead and give this a try. That is really good. I like that not only is it very crumbly and sort of breaks apart, it's not overly sweet. Sometimes when you have the Dal Bati Churma, the churma is overpoweringly sweet. But here at this store, they've made it the perfect balance. The textures are really nice. It's got a bit of oily flavor to it. Overall, this is incredible. And the total price of this is 160 rupees. That's about $2 or less. That is incredible. And for the size food portion you're getting, that's amazing. For me, the dal is probably the best part, that everything else complements it so well that it really does make the Dal Bati Churma come together, whereas in some places that isn't always the case. That is a great place to have some food. That Dal Bati Churma is some of the best you're gonna get. And like I said, that is a very traditional Rajasthani thing. You're not going to get that anywhere else. And the dal, that was amazing. And once you put that bit of lemon, that literally changes the game. It literally fundamentally changes the game. So that's some of the best food you're gonna get here in Rajasthan. To start off our dinner adventures here in Pushkar, I've decided that I want to try something that I've seen everywhere here in the city. It's called a Laffa roll. And I'm going to show you exactly how it starts off with. First, he rolls the dough right here into a really, really nice thin wrap. Whereas in other countries, you might buy the wraps from the supermarket. Here in India, you're getting it freshly made. Now the chef has brought it over right here. And now he's literally heating it up on the tawa. Yes. He's heating up on the tawa, and that's how you get that fresh bread, that fresh wrap that's gonna wrap up all that laffa inside. It's all made fresh here, and none of it is pre-packaged or pre-manufactured. Yes. Before food actually comes, I saw that they had a lassi wala, a guy who makes lassi here. And I thought there'd be something new here. There is. There is something called a gulkand lassi. What is gulkand? It's kind of preserved rose petals, so it's got a flowery, rose-like taste to it. I've never seen anything like this before. In fact, the only extent of lassi outside of India is just mango lassi, and that's it. So I'm very curious to try the different flavors of lassi and offer here in India, and this one specifically, gulkand lassi. You can literally see on the very top there's a bit of pink. That is from the rose petals, and you're gonna supposed to mix that in with the lassi. Oh, wow, there's so much going on in this lassi. There's like a lot of rose petals in there. That is something I definitely did not expect. But without further ado, let's go ahead and let's try a gulkand lassi. That is so sweet, so flowery, sweet. It's like literally if you took a rose dunked it in the lassi, and cooked it down until it's like stewed and sweet. It's very flowery, very sweet, but it is really good because I love, it complements the sourness, the lassi, the natural sourness. It is very flowery, and if you're on diabetes, I wouldn't recommend this because it is very, very sweet. I mean, it's so sweet I almost choked on it. But it is definitely a new take to lassi that I haven't had here in India before. After that delicious lassi, the food has finally arrived, and we finally got our Laffa roll. And you might be thinking, what is a Laffa roll? Well, funnily enough, it's actually a falafel that's been Indianized. And I think that's just because of all the foreign influences here in Pushkar specifically. I haven't seen a Laffa roll in anywhere else in India. Like, you didn't see it in Jaipur, didn't see it in Delhi, but it is here in Pushkar, and it is very interesting. Indian version of a falafel. They've got tomatoes, they've got some other ingredients in there. It is very, very unique. However, first off, the wrap, naturally made. We saw it made just now, freshly made right behind me in that station right there. So it is as fresh as it gets. There's no pre-manufactured bread involved. This is as originally made from scratch as possible. With that, let's go ahead and let's get our Laffa roll. I mean, look at all the ingredients stuffed in there. It looks interesting, and it is piping hot. You can see him making it on the tava, making the dough really nice and crispy, and then wrapping it all up. With that, let's go ahead and try our first Laffa roll here in Pushkar. That is exactly what I thought it would be. An Indianized version of a falafel. You've got the crumbliness of the falafel itself, which is made from chickpea. However, you've also got a little bit of like hints of spices that you wouldn't usually expect in Middle Eastern falafel. I think there's a bit of cumin maybe. There's something going on, and that's really, really interesting. However, there is also some bit of creaminess. The tomatoes are mixed in with a bit of mayonnaise, and that adds a really good contrast. Now, what am I gonna do with it? We have chutneys, and these chutneys are green and red. I've never had falafel with chutney, but here in India, anything can go with chutney, and that's what makes Indian food so good. So let me go ahead. Here's the green bottle here. I'm just gonna generously pour all of that onto the Laffa roll. Let's go ahead and give the Laffa roll a try. That is exactly what the Laffa roll needs. It needs a little bit more spice. That is quite spice, but I love the heat of the flavor. I need that heatiness, I need that chili, I need something to spice up that Laffa roll. And that chutney does the exact job. It's also got a bit of like acidity, a bit of sourness. Maybe it's lemons, maybe there's some other extra ingredient inside that green chili sauce. But man, a falafel with green chutney, that is the way you do it in India. That's the way you have a Laffa roll, and this is probably one of the best things you're gonna get here in Pushkar. ठीक है, धन्यवाद. I thought I'd have a falafel here in India, but sure enough, it really works. It's delicious, it's good, and when you make fresh wraps like that, there's nothing wrong with that. And well, unfortunately, it is pretty late in Pushkar, and actually Pushkar is a very religious city, which means that they close things pretty early, especially when it's not the Mela time. So fortunately, the dessert shops are closed. The sweets that I wanted to show you are no longer available, but we still have a few days in Rajasthan, so we'll definitely be taking more time to find out all the delicious foods that are here. But even then, I think we've had a pretty delicious day. I mean, from the Dal Bati Churma to the Laffa roll just now, we've had a lot of traditional Rajasthani eats, and they've been absolutely delicious. And that's why I generally think Rajasthan is a food haven in India. Well, frankly, all of India is a food haven, but Rajasthani food specifically is absolutely delicious, and I think we've got a little taste of that here in Pushkar. But with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more food and travel videos. We got a lot more coming here from India, so make sure to stay tuned, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye guys.